Hey there, and welcome to In My Opinion Nation, the weekly Blossom podcast where we break down an episode and talk about, all the fun stuff that happened in the 90s. I'm your host, Eric, and I'm joined by Mallory.
Hello.
And Jen.
Hello.
Hello, my lovely co-host. How are you guys doing?
Good. Excited.
Oh, great.
Now I'm not a co-host, so I can't be like, yeah, I'm good.
Well, you still can. You just did.
Yeah, so this week we're gonna no. So
this whole episode gonna be real sad.
Well, based on how much sex they talk about this episode, yeah, it's a little sad. Or at least awkward. So this week we are looking at the third episode of season 1, Dad's Girlfriend. The episode aired on January 14th, 1991. And was directed by, season 1 vet Zane Busby. Zane Busby.
Love that name.
1930s gangster.
And it was written by Don Rio and Judith D. Allison. Mm-hmm. IMDb has a wonderful synopsis for this episode, and it goes like this. Blossom has problems with her dad's new girlfriend. So that's the episode.
I mean, that's the episode.
Pretty much the episode. Some fun little trivia. This is the third and final appearance of Blossom's elder buddy, Agnes, played by Eileen Brennan. Oh. I know, sadness. Eileen Brennan, another fun fact, originated the role of Irene Malloy in the original Broadway production of Hello, Dolly in 1964.
Oh. I'm going to look that up now.
She has been in a lot of theater and TV and movies. So
Yeah, she's definitely one of those faces that you recognize from everywhere.
Yeah. And she was always I loved her in this season because she was always that straight to the point,
No bullshit.
advice. Yeah, no bullshit advice.
Yeah.
So yeah, any other fun trivia you guys found out? There's not much trivia in the first season, like we said last week.
Yeah.
So
this was the 6th episode filmed. So in terms of filming chronology, it was filmed before My Sister's Keeper, which was the last episode.
Yeah. And we continue the fun talk of Joey going on dates.
Yes.
This whole season. So let's get into the episode. The show starts off with Nick and his girlfriend Elaine, played by Deborah Engel, lovingly making dinner. Anthony comes in and tells his dad that he wants a motorcycle, as teenagers do, or early 20s. Nick isn't impressed, obviously. So Tony says, you know what? It'll pay for itself. I'll just jump a fountain in Vegas. His plan obviously does not work.
That's I mean,
don't know that yet.
Yeah, he doesn't get to do it. It's a bulletproof plan.
Obviously.
There's a point for another season.
Well, but also the plan is sort of get motorcycle, jump over fountain, question mark, profits.
Profit.
Yeah.
Motorcycle gnomes.
I didn't see. And what was his name? Dave.
Super Dave.
Super Dave was very popular at this time. So, people would have gone.
Super Dave Osborne. Oh my God.
I mean, if you're using Super Dave Osborne as your motivation to get a motorcycle and jump off of something.
Super Dave, are you okay? That was it, right? Every episode? Yeah.
Thumbs up. Yeah. And he's picking a Harley, so it's not going to work out in his...
No.
In his corner. Anyway, so Blossom arrives home late from school. She's trying out, like we said earlier, that she's trying out for the first chair in the band. So she's been practicing her trumpet. And she's surprised to see Elaine making pasta. Nick had forgotten to leave her a note to tell her that, even though it was Blossom's turn to make dinner, Elaine was going to come over and make dinner for them.
Yeah. She's making her quote-unquote special pasta. Is this pasta puttanesca?
Thank you. Was just going to ask. Is it hooker pasta?
Hooker macaroni?
Well, Nick seems to like the sauce, so...
Yeah. Don't do that with your kids in the room, Nick. Gross.
It was weird. But, Elaine was actually being really nice to Blossom. She was trying to get to know her, activities. She sort of seemed like she was, trying to be intrigued by her.
She's trying.
She was trying is what she was doing.
She's trying. And Blossom is very clearly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But she's not even doing it in... She's not being, she's not talking down to her and being like, oh, what are you doing? What are you... She's just talking to her like a normal human being.
Yeah. She's genuinely, trying to connect with Blossom. And Blossom is just... I I think I'm the only one on this podcast who has divorced parents. So I feel like I'm the only one who can directly relate to the situation. I was not 14. I was 17 when my parents got divorced. And I don't want to go too much into specifics because I don't think it's fair to anyone to be like talking about them out of turn on a podcast. But it is kind of uncomfortable the first time your parents start dating someone. It's a weird situation to be in because it's not one that you ever expect yourself to be in. And it's like you've grown up for how many years knowing this is like your family bubble, and then now it's changing. So I do kind of understand Blossom being kind of prickly, even though Elaine is not doing anything to like elicit that.
I wish we knew how long they had been dating prior to this point.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been neat to know, like, maybe Elaine had been in the background the past couple episodes. And then this is the first time she started to come over to the house. Like, we don't really get that dynamic. So
no, we do find out later, like how long their mom has been gone for, but we don't find out like how long Nick and Elaine have been together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to note at the end of this scene, Elaine offers Nick a taste of the sauce and he tastes the sauce and then she puts the spoon back into the pot.
They're family now.
Yeah, like I'm fine with that because I do that with my pasta sauce. I taste it and then I guess you shouldn't use the same spoon. I will rework my kitchen technique.
No more dunking your mouth germs back into the family.
You know what? Mythbusters has taught me that double dipping doesn't matter.
Sir, we're in a pandemic.
I don't go anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God. Yeah. So one thing I noticed, and I've just noticed this as a through thing, Blossom kind of dresses like a grandma. Have you noticed it? And I think this is the first time that I've really like clued in and been like, oh, what is happening?
This season in particular, I think they're trying to figure out what her style is.
And she's also trying to figure out her style. I feel
so they throw a lot at the wall and see what sticks, basically.
Like she has a really chonky turtleneck in like this gross mustard color with a brooch.
Yeah.
Like it was not happening for me.
Do you remember what you used to dress like when you were 14? I do, because I used to either wear plaid or I was wearing khakis and golf shirts, or it was all over the place.
Were you 14 in the 90s?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
It was all over the place. Hey, who had a couple of visors? Yeah, do I wear it normal? Do I wear it upside down? No one knows. Oh my God, the 90s are so confusing. Fashion-wise, do I wear the really baggy jeans? Do I wear a chain today? Do I wear the up or down?
The only thing I remember about my 14-year-old style was all of high school was when low-rise jeans were all the rage, and they are the worst thing in the world. No one should ever wear low-rise jeans. They're just designed to make you feel bad about yourself.
You were staying very silent as a man.
I don't know. I went to a Catholic high school, so I appreciated
You appreciated the skirts?
I appreciated all of our I was going to say costume choices. All of our uniform choices. Yep.
All right, I'm going to stop ragging on her.
I was going to say something, and I'm not going to because I don't want to seem skeezy.
I mean, after this episode, I'm sure you'll be fine.
No, guys in high school, man. They're so just the worst. Yeah. Especially in Catholic schools. We're just oh, you guys, get away from the stairs. You're dirty.
Yeah.
Not me. I'm saying other people. But I'd be why are you guys hanging out down there? Because my locker is at the top of the stairs, so I'd always have to go down. I'd be oh, there's the same group of people hanging down there at the same time.
That's gross.
Stop. You can go hang out with our math teacher who used to hang out in his car during breaks and come back smelling funny.
Like puff puff funny or glug glug funny?
Glug glug, the sadder one.
No.
Yep. He was an interesting math teacher. Anyway, the next scene sees the kids cleaning dishes and candidly talking about sex. Super candidly. Too much candidly. As someone who has two other siblings in his family. Joey only thinks about sex and he's dating a senior, so he's sort of assuming things. And then Blossom says some amazing words of wisdom here. Sometimes guys tell stories about girls that are not based on facts.
Yes.
Also, call back to last episode. Sometimes guys tell story about guys that are not based on facts.
And these guys are Joey, obviously.
Yeah. Like he hasn't learned anything.
No,
from what happened.
Not at all.
No.
He's doing the exact same thing to this girl that he did to Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he says this thing. I had to look it up because I was like, this is a fake thing. He says something about like all the reasons that clearly
fact. She's been to France. Fact. She's been to Europe. Fact. She's supposed to take this anti-nympho medication, but she doesn't.
So I had to be like, what that?
That's not true, right?
That's not a thing. So I literally looked it up.
Of course you did.
My Google search is going to be so weird after this podcast. So the closest thing to like an anti-nympho is like literally an antipsychotic or something for a compulsive disorder. Like that was the closest I could get. He's just making shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. As boys do at that age.
Yeah.
16-year-old boys. Stop it.
Now, Eric, so they keep saying that he's 16. I remembered him as being only a year older than Blossom. Do they retcon his age in the next season?
No, I don't remember the second season as much as you, because the last time I watched it, it was the second season.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. So his age may or may not change next season, because
maybe he just stays at 16 because he's dumb.
Yeah, Blossom gets older and he stays the same age.
Sure. Or maybe her birthday's later in the year.
Maybe, yeah.
Things to learn. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Joey's not hearing any of it because she's been to France, obviously, and
and Europe,
and then the medication. And then Tony asks how Blossom feels about Elaine, but she's sort of unsure of her feelings. And then, the boys ask her to come out to a movie with them. And she's like, nah. And then Elaine asks them to have a movie night with her dad. And she's like, okay, I'm going.
That was super cute that they asked her out.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were like, you sure you don't want to come? But I think, she says that she doesn't have an opinion, but her actions of
it's slowly
immediately choosing to leave and not hang out with Elaine, like very clearly show she's not comfortable with Elaine. She's not here for it.
Yeah. And then we head to our Blossom moment, our standard Blossom moment, where Blossom and Six are having a candid conversation in her bedroom about Elaine. And Blossom isn't sure why she doesn't like Elaine. She starts listing off all these things. And Six is sitting there like, these are all normal things that a normal person would do. Maybe she's just interested in you.
And she has that great, like, sarcastic reaction where everything Blossom says, she's like, that bitch.
She's such a good friend to do that. Oh, my God.
This to me is best friendship. Best friendship isn't always going along and saying, oh, my God, I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Like, you're not in a bubble. Like, your best friend, if you're being ridiculous, will call you out on your shit. Like, Six is such a good friend for the way she handles Blossom here.
Yeah, she tries to show her a bit of reality that, like, she's not a witch. Like, all the things you're saying are nice things. Like, what?
Maybe she's just interested in you and wants to get to know you.
Exactly. Like, I mean, she's a little shady about it in the beginning, but then she does kind of veer the conversation that way.
Yeah.
But actually, like, maybe reevaluate how you're dealing with this.
But it's hard for someone in that position, especially.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but seeing what Blossom is going through, you can sort of.
It's.
Now, let me ask you, some of the things she says, are you guys this crazy about how things go in the kitchen?
Yes.
No, but I can see a different thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate when I have to search for things when they're supposed to be in a certain spot. Like, I'm messy, as you can see from my basement, but I know where all of this stuff is. Like, as soon as I organize it, I'm going to know where that mess is. But in the kitchen, like I used to work in kitchens all the time, and, I assume Matt's the same way, where he has to have things in certain ways, because when you're cooking, you don't want to be like, where the fuck is this certain pan? Because then other things will burn. And I hate it so much. And people put away things in the wrong spot in my kitchen. I hate it so much. But
so that's the thing. Like, so I can understand that, like, this is the kitchen. This is the way it goes. Obviously, the reason she's mad about it is not
Yeah.
the reason we would be. But I was just curious about like how psycho would you get about somebody changing your kitchen?
I don't care about people peeling potatoes, but I would care about if they put like the wooden spoons in a drawer instead of in the utensil thing. I would hate that. Oh
yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like super concerned about it. However, Jen, you know this. I have on one of my cabinet doors, I have little hooks for all like the measuring cups and spoons, and I have them in order from like biggest to smallest. And every now and then I'll open them up after Tristan has put them away, and they'll be all like they'll be hung up, but all willy nilly.
I hate that. Oh my god.
Like, what are you doing?
We have measuring cups in
There's an order
in a drawer, and like obviously they're stacking, so they go in a certain order. But when they're not in that order and they're just sort of all on top of each other, I'm like, why? Why is this a thing? They stack. Just what? Oh my god. I'm fine, guys.
So like it makes sense. Like obviously Blossom is spiraling, but I can see like her real reaction or her real feelings and being able to lean it on. This is just not the way the kitchen goes. Like it makes it so easy for her to spiral out the way she does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not about like putting the spoon in the silverware drawer.
Exactly.
It's about the fact that this person isn't her mom, and she feels like she's coming in and taking her mom's place.
Yeah,
like she's
that's what it's about.
Too comfortable enough that she can be like, no, it goes over here now, and like, no, it doesn't go there, and I agree with her. No.
Yeah. I think also like, so we open with her like cooking on Blossom's night. So I think for Blossom, it's a little bit more than just she's taking my mom's spot. It's she's now taking my spot.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, there's a scene later where she says, I hope you don't have to choose between my dad or me, because I'll always be the first seat, I think is what she said.
Yeah.
Just before we move on from this scene, there was a couple things I wanted to point out. So the first was when Six suggests that they put on mascara and try to sneak into an NC-17 movie. These girls are the most 12-year-old looking 14-year-old girls I've ever seen. They need way more than mascara to get into a 17 movie.
They need to pile up in a trench coat is what they need to do.
I think what you guys don't remember of the early 90s is that no one cared at movie theaters. They could just go into anything.
Well, I think once they started having a lot of multiplexes too, and I definitely did this, you get in for like a PG movie, and then once you're in there, you can just go in whatever the hell theater you want to. Nobody's checking any. Like they do that now, but
I remember when they started going at the actual theater, and they're like, which ticket is this? I was like, damn it, I was going to go somewhere else. I guess I'm gonna go see Wing Commander again. Nope. Anyway, let's move on to the next scene. Oh no, sorry, you have more things?
Yeah, just the second thing, because it does come back later, is that Six wishes that Richard Gere was 17 or was 15.
Yes.
Yep. And who doesn't? He can do sit-ups like no other man. Isn't that from...
What?
That's a movie reference. That's okay. That's cool.
Neither of us gets that.
So old.
We love you, though.
So the next scene, we're back in the kitchen, and Joey's back to the sex talk because, dude, seriously. And also, obviously, making out in buses is funny. But Tony is on his way to getting a Harley, and he shows them this brochure that he apparently has paid bikers for. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's so funny. The look that he gives when he's like, I trusted them. I did.
Yeah. Like where, but like, so he says those damn bikers, like, did he just see like a group of bikers on the side of the road and be like, hey, do you have any brochures? Like why
are the bikers holding brochures?
Why do they have brochures?
Like what I want to know more about that, please.
That elaborate brochure scam they have running.
Yeah. Because you would think you would have to go to like a dealership to get the brochure, but he says those damn bikers.
Yeah.
Which implies that it was just like a group of bikers that he got a brochure. I don't know.
Maybe it was at a bar.
He's so smart, and then he's so dumb.
Yeah. It's because he's on the mend.
Yeah.
So Blossoms asks where their dad is, and Tony lets them know that Nick stayed overnight at Elaine's house, and
Joey is so proud of his dad for getting laid.
Yeah. Ugh, gross.
So weird.
It's so weird. They're very candid about their sex lives, all of them.
Yeah.
Blossom's obviously even more visibly upset about this. And Tony isn't, because his parents has been separated for 4 years. We find out how long their mom has been away. And he's happy that his dad is happy. And Joey's also happy that his dad is happy. And then they talk about how Elaine might be, quotes, the one. And Blossom's on, obviously, the nay side of that conversation.
Yeah. And yeah, the idea of her dad getting remarried sends her on like even more of a spiral.
Agreed. So that scene ends and we move on to our first dream sequence in a little while, which starts with Blossom starring as Cinderella in her living room, vacuuming and cleaning, and Elaine sitting on the couch being that evil stepmother, making more mess as she's cleaning and she's cackling. Nick comes down with adorable poodles, not puppies, poodles.
Oh my God.
2 identical poodles.
I love Bougie Nick.
Oh my God.
His hair has like this glorious swoop on it. Oh my God. He has a little ascot.
His laugh is a little bit more hoity-toity.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we changed your room into the poodle's room. You must be upset about that.
Yeah. So good.
And then Blossom wishes them to disappear, and they're like, poof. They disappear, and Rhea Perlman appears in the most amazing dress on their piano, just like sprawled out. You have 2 more wishes. I'm like, oh man, Rhea Perlman at the height of her Cheers, popularity. So having her on this show was not a small feat. That's
so
amazing.
this after the Felicia Rashad as well, like they were getting major names in the first season. Like that doesn't usually happen.
No, and it's a trend that continues. Look forward to seeing lots more great guest stars. But yeah, Rhea Perlman, I wrote in all caps, Rhea Perlman as the fairy godmother, and then the angriest fairy that ever fairy.
Yeah, I loved it.
So great.
I loved how she was pretty much her Cheers character, but in a dress.
Yeah.
Which I was appreciative of. She asks Blossom for 2 wishes, and Blossom obviously goes, world peace. She gets a world peace sign.
We also get a 15-year-old Richard
We
Gere.
get a 15-year-old Richard Gere, because obviously we need that. And then she asks, her last wish was, she wishes for none of this to happen again. And Elaine and Nick come back at the end of the stream, and Elaine gets to do this awesome evil cackle. She goes, something like that.
Brilliant.
She does it much better. And
She does a very witchy cackle.
and she wakes, and then Blossom wakes up from her dream, visibly upset because she had a dream with Rhea Perlman. No, I would have an awesome
That would be the best dream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we move on to scene 6, where we're back in the kitchen. This is a very kitchen-centric episode. And we see Elaine again making food. And Blossom sort of goes off on her and just sort of vents her frustrations about their relationship.
Is that before or after the Agnes scene?
I have Agnes first.
Did I skip Agnes?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How dare you?
It's her last scene ever on Blossom, and you skipped it.
Why did I do that? I went to scene 7 instead of scene 6. I will rewind. So, Blossom goes to visit her elderly friend, Elaine. And
Agnes.
Oh my God, why am I writing this? Okay, I'm going to redo this again. So, in the next scene, Blossom goes to visit her elderly friend, Agnes. And Blossom vents her frustrations about Elaine. And she's trying to explain why she doesn't like Elaine. And Agnes is like, well, what's wrong with her? And she starts listing off things. And she's like, well, the boys like her. And Blossom's like, well, they're boys. Obviously, they'd like her. Which was sort of sus. And then she asks for some real advice from Agnes. And Elaine tells her to mind her own damn business. Which is, straight to the point. Classic Agnes. Obviously written Agnes in this outline that I wrote, not Elaine multiple times for some reason.
I do want to point out the most Jen line that Agnes says, which is Blossom says that she picked her up a quart of milk, and Agnes says, I could use a quart of gin.
Yes.
To which I have the note, oh my God, am I going to be Agnes?
You are.
Going to be. You are.
That's when you are an old lady, you're going to have a little girl who brings you milk, and you're going to give her advice.
And the other line, which I feel like I might have said to some people, maybe you guys, I don't know,
was never use a jacuzzi on a Greek fishing boat. You've never told me that.
You should have.
It's probably not bad advice, though. It's the line, do you want good advice or do you want to hear what you want to hear?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've said that before.
And Blossom's like, what I want to hear.
Which is also a great thing. And that to me is just going back to how Six handled the situation and like being real with your friends. And sometimes people do just want to hear the nice thing. And sometimes they need to kind of be smacked with logic. But I always find like, ask the person, like, do you want to vent or do you want advice?
Yeah.
Either one is fine. But then you don't find yourself becoming the bad person.
Yeah. You don't find yourself giving advice when they want to vent or not giving advice when they want your help.
This is a good life lesson for people out there listening to this.
Yeah.
Just how to talk to people and how to be a good friend and like just, you know, so yeah. Now I'm really sad that Agnes is never coming back.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I did also want to point out, because it's a little bit of a callback later on. It'll be called back to Blossom closes the fridge with her hip.
Oh, I didn't even look for that.
Yeah, I noticed that on my second watch through that she closes the fridge with her hip.
Joey talks about that in 2 scenes from now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's great.
That.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm going to have to start doing that in my kitchen. Anyway, so Blossom returns home to Elaine cooking and sort of explodes all of her frustrations out at Elaine after she sees Elaine wearing her mother's apron, which, you know, is very understandable.
It's tough. Yeah.
That poor woman, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not her fault. She, Blossom's dealing with a lot of complicated emotions and, especially when you feel like both you and your mom are being pushed out by this woman, even though she's not doing anything wrong, like seeing her physically take your mother's space by using your mother's apron is a lot for a 14-year-old to handle.
And I wonder, like we talked about in the pilot, that she sort of I don't want to say assume, but she sort of feels like maybe her mom can come back. And seeing Elaine in that get up, she's like, no, you can't replace her right now because she might come back. You never know.
Yeah, I think it's, especially at 14, and if her mom left 4 years ago, she would have been 10 when her mom left. So, and that's it. That's like, and it's not even just that her parents got divorced. It's that her mom left. Like her mom left the family and is choosing to no longer be a mother. And I think it's normal to like hope that that'll change. Yeah,
this was a tough scene because, I mean, the approach Blossom was wrong, but you feel for both people. Like, nobody is the villain in it, and it's just a bad situation. It was a tough watch.
It was the toughest scene, I think, in this.
Yeah.
We move on to Blossom going to talk to Joey about stuff, and she finds out that Nick and Elaine had broken up. Anthony had told Joey about it. And Blossom feels bad for breaking them up. Like she feels responsible for it.
Yeah.
Joey opens up to her in probably the first scene we've ever seen him be a real human being. And he talks about how he actually wanted Elaine to break up with their dad as well. And, there were lots of feelings that they were both feeling. And he's like, it was the way she moved around the kitchen. And then he told his sister that she moved around the kitchen the same way, which is a very touching scene because, we're used to seeing Joey as a sex-crazed guy, but to see that
he's being insightful.
He's being insightful. He's being more than just that stereotype.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they end up talking about their mom leaving the family and how she chose her singing career because she felt it slipping away. And, as someone who's getting older now, there's a lot of these feelings that like I understand how their mom could have felt. It's just it felt like the most real scene that I've seen so far in Blossom. Yeah,
well that's so Joey mentions like, of course she left, we're not the greatest kids, which I think is it's such a heartbreaking thing, but it is what a lot of kids feel. I did not feel that way, luckily, but I think a lot of kids do feel like they are the cause, which is never the case. It's never the case.
Yeah.
And I think also what was interesting about this scene is that they both say like sometimes they can sympathize with her and sometimes they really hate her for leaving. It's okay to have like those conflicting emotions. Like that's normal. And that's like, you don't have to be all one way or the other. You can understand why someone did something and still be upset that they did it.
Yeah. I had a thought while I was watching it too. And I realized, again, we had mentioned the airing of the episodes was outside of how they were shot and intended to be released. So this might play into this a little bit. But in the last episode, you know, Nick, the dad, says he's working with Ella Fitzgerald and Tony Bennett and all of these big names. But his wife runs away to pursue a music career. And I'm like, is not... So obviously there's underlying things which they don't discuss because the kids don't know.
Yeah.
But it would raise the question, if I was the kid, be like, would not this family in this situation be the best place for you to be if you were having a singing career?
Well, you know, singers often tour, and maybe that's not, maybe she wanted to live a life on the road.
I also wonder, like we talked about last episode, Nick is a session musician. Like he's not he's not in a set band. He's not often touring. Like he's accompanying other famous singers and musicians. Yeah. And I think it's kind of implied that their mom wanted to be that famous musician. Right. She didn't want to be she didn't want to be doing backup vocals in a recording booth. She wanted to be the like headliner.
Yeah.
And like, I know a couple opera soloists, and their life is basically just flying places all the time. So being tied down in one spot is not a lifestyle for them.
Yeah, I just think this was the one time where maybe the airing order kind of hindered the content, because if this had aired in the order it was written and those episodes were a little removed from one another, like there wouldn't have been that kind of dissonance of what the mom said she wanted and what we're clearly seeing she could have had. You know,
it's not like we know a lot about Nick's music career at this point.
No.
So we could just be like, why didn't she just stay? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Any other thoughts on this scene? This really beautiful and heartbreaking scene?
I don't know. Just we're not great kids line was just so heartbreaking. Oh my God.
I really liked when they like Mallory had said, sometimes they understand why she left and sometimes they hate her. I think that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So we move on to the final scene of the episode, and Anthony scares Blossom in her biker getup. He doesn't have the bike yet, but he has a goal of getting it, and he will achieve it. And that was the first step.
Yeah.
And he felt like, and I appreciate the Darth Vader references. So, you know, A1 to Anthony getting his on his way to get his bike.
I like the part where he walked into the wall. he puts the like mask down on the helmet and walks directly into the wall.
Use the door, Luke.
Yeah.
The greatest line is he has this whole getup and Blossom's like, "You okay? You like back on drugs?" He's like, "No, I'm fine. But if I fall off the wagon, I have a helmet."
Oh no.
So Joey comes home distraught from his date because he didn't, I'm going to air quotes this, get any. He was a perfect gentleman in a stylish red suit jacket. Right? And Blossom's like, dude, you're an idiot. She wants to see you again because you were nice on that date and the girl likes you. You might be in a real relationship. And he's like, whoa, I guess that's weird.
Like they took this beautiful scene with him and just immediately stomped all over it.
Yeah.
But it is nice to hear that he was actually a gentleman on the date.
Yes.
Like he's not just some skeezy 16-year-old trying to just get some.
Yeah, that's a little bit of what I was trying to articulate in the last episode that I don't know that I did clearly, is that like, him like at home talking about like just constantly trying to get laid is not how he actually behaves with the girls that he goes on a date with. He's a lot of talk. And then when he's in the situation, he's a gentleman and he's not trying to take anything that isn't consensually
it's
given,
still very weird that he talks to his sister and brother about this stuff. I don't know, my relationship with my siblings were not like this, and I don't ever want to know any of that. Nope. So Nick comes home, their dad comes home and has a heart-to-heart with Blossom. He's still a little standoffish. You can tell that from his stature as he comes in, and they talk about the breakup, and he tells Blossom that she should have came to him first if she had a problem with Elaine, and that she should mind her damn business. And that he's going to date, and Blossom isn't going to love everyone he dates, but if Blossom has concerns about it, he doesn't want to hear about it through a third person, which I thought was a really good way of taking that. And then Nick lets her know that she wasn't the cause of the breakup, but she was definitely mentioned.
That was so good.
And they sit down to have this. They ended up, sort of reconciling, and they sit on the couch to watch Dick Van Dyke, and Nick lets her know that the potato thing bugged the hell out of him too.
Yeah,
which is a cute way to end that.
It's nice to see like him not. He tends to get emotional, and he approaches this from a very, I don't want to say emotionless, but he does it in a much more practical way. So he validates her feelings and saying, I know what you feel because I feel it too. Like he fully admits that it's going to be weird. He says, like, you're not going to like everyone I date. I'm not going to like everyone I date. So he validates what she's feeling while still doing the parenting thing and being like, I am going to do what I'm going to do.
I'm the parent. Yeah.
Any other final thoughts about this last scene? All good? Do we move on to the outfit of the week?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go with Jen, because you picked me last time, so you get to go first.
I had two.
Okay.
And I still don't know which one my favorite is, but I think we're going to say Blossom's final outfit. I just took Mallory's. Okay, I'm going to let you have that one because I have another one.
Please
so my other one,
don't take mine.
It probably won't be. So it is what Elaine wore in the dream.
Nope. That is a wonderful outfit.
And this is just me being a costume kid. It's not wacky, but it is legitimately like the most gorgeous lounge wear. It's like silk lounge pajamas, and there's like, it's a sleeveless robe. I know the actual word, but I can't think of it, and I feel shame as a costume person.
Caftan?
It's not a caftan because it opens in the front. I've been looking up this term. I can't find it. I hate myself. Anyway.
I'm learning new words, though.
Caftans don't open in the front?
No, caftan is like it's like a muumuu-ish.
Oh, is it like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, caftan's its own thing.
Like a long poncho.
Sort of,
a loncho?
Okay.
Yeah. But this is like an open, it's basically like a silk robe, but it doesn't have sleeves on it. So you can see the sleeves of the pajamas underneath. Anyways, this is too much information for people that don't like costumes. But it was just like gorgeous and absolutely perfect for that evil stepmother with like the 90s permed hair. Oh my God. Not hilarious in 90s, just like beautiful.
Mallory, do you want to explain yours?
Yeah, so as Jen mentioned, it's Blossom's final look. So she's got this like color blocked flannel button up shirt that I almost feel like has come from a pajama set because it's got that like piping around like the collar and the sleeves that I've only ever seen on pajamas. And then she has denim shorts over black leggings, and I think there are black leg warmers as well, scrunched on her calves, and like denim suspenders. And then on the denim suspenders is the return of the big ass flower brooch that Jen hated from the pilot. But
you know what? Love it here. She wore it the right way now.
When it's not choking her at her like neck and just on the suspenders, it looks really cute.
Dope as hell with this outfit.
Yeah.
My favorite outfit of the week was actually Blossom's kitchenware PJs, which were wonderful.
Yes!
And because of how important the kitchen was to this episode, I thought it was a nice way to tie everything in together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of want PJs like that now, and I will scour the internet for it.
Yes, I coveted them. They were so heckin' cute.
Yep. So what's the lesson of the week? Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Sorry. I was just with the final outfit as well. I think what's relevant and made me feel old, I don't know about you guys, is that's the first outfit where I'm like, not only could I wear that now, but like the kids would think I was cool. So I'm officially that age where fashion has come full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we get like further in and like the girls get older and stuff, especially I think you'll see some outfits that you're like, we'd wear that today.
Yeah. I've gone through 2 of these already in my lifetime. Things coming back. It's really odd. I don't understand it, and it's very confusing. Anyway, what's the lesson of the week, my friends?
So I have written down mind your own business, which is the same as last week. But I think more than that, it's like what Nick says in the last scene, which is if you have a problem, come to me. Like if you have a problem with me, come to me. Don't be talking to other people about it. Like address your issues head on. Don't sit in them and spiral.
Yeah. Jen?
I had trouble articulating this one because I had a few different thoughts. One of them was along the lines of like, your parents are people too, and they're allowed to have lives. And I had another thought of like, you need to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like she didn't give Elaine a chance, you know, she just jumped to the conclusion that she was trying to replace whoever, whether it was her mom or herself. So I don't know. I had a lot of thoughts. I can't come up with one lesson.
Yeah. I don't know. At least for me, I don't think the lesson is to mind your own damn business, at least in this. I know Agnes says that, but I feel like if communication was way more open amongst all these people, this wouldn't have happened. So I feel like being open with her dad, being open with Elaine about her feelings would have been, or at least being open with her dad before being open with Elaine.
She was a little too open with Elaine.
I also think part of it is like she doesn't really know why she doesn't like Lorraine. Like, you know, like she talks about how she's too nice. Oh, she puts the thing back in the wrong. But I don't know that she herself, Blossom, has like figured out that she feels explicitly like her mom is being replaced. She just knows that this is not like how it's supposed to be. This is weird. This is a new person. So it's hard for her to like express that to someone else without fully understanding herself.
Her talking to Joey about it was really quite a key scene. Like that was really where we see them open up to each other, and we haven't really seen that in the series before.
And I think that's also kind of the like scene where she figures out like this has to do with mom. It has nothing to do with Elaine. It has to do with mom.
Yeah.
I agree. So out of, let's see, what am I going to say this week? Out of 5 Rhea Perlman fairy dresses, what do you give this? Jen?
Yes. I want to say 5. I'm going to say 4.5 because Joey just icked me out to the point where I couldn't enjoy some of the episode.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I gave it a 4 out of 5 for Rhea Perlman. That great guest star. And that scene with Blossom and Joey that, you know, where they discuss their mom leaving.
I think we learned a lot more about the family as like a collective in this episode, whereas in the old ones, it was like they talked about stuff, but it was all like very surface level. Like, oh, we're going to be funny. This is the first one where there were more serious scenes, I felt like.
Yeah.
I will definitely give it a 4.5 as well. The Joey icky scenes were a little too icky for me.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for coming and talking about Blossom with me this week. Next week, we're going to be checking out season 1, episode 4. Who's in charge here? ? And the IMDb, because I got to give that summary. The IMDb summary is Home Alone, Blossom's imagination runs wild. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, no.
So,
How descriptive.
So thank you guys for coming. I look forward to talking to you about Blossom next week because I'm hosting again. Aha! We'll see you guys then. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to In My Opinionation.
Don't forget to rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at I Am Opinionation, our website at IamOpinionation.com, or email us at opinionationpod@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear your opinionation about this or any future episodes.
New episodes come out every Tuesday.
Thanks again for listening, and until next week,
The sun is gonna surely shine.